report from a whistleblower group appears to show just how deep the alleged East Palestine train derailment cover-up might go. The Government Accountability Project recently obtained a letter from the EPA sent to Norfolk Southern in the aftermath of the derailment. Now, this is a little wonky, so bear with me. In the letter, the EPA discusses which areas of soil should be tested for toxic chemicals. It appears they choose so-called baseline soil samples from places that were hard hit by the toxic plume of smoke. That's important because baseline is the benchmark for comparison in order to track progress. So if the benchmark is super toxic, everything else you test, like the soil in somebody's front yard, will look pretty good in comparison, even if it's also very, very toxic. So did the EPA purposely skew its data to make everything look less bad than it was? A whistleblower told News Nation and investigative correspondent Rich McHugh that he definitely thinks that is the case. Rich joins us now live from East Palestine with more. Rich, this is a big accusation. Has the EPA or Norfolk Southern responded at all?
Hi, Elizabeth. The EPA has not responded at all. Norfolk Southern did respond, only to tell me that they would not be commenting further on this. Now, there's two big points here. We're learning that the EPA used Norfolk Southern's contractors' data, passed it off as their own, and massaged it to pass it off as their own. Number two, the big one, they were not testing, according to the experts we've spoken to, they were not testing for toxins in the right area, and there's only two scenarios why that would be. One of it is incompetence, the other is it's intentional.
This is black and white receipts that the EPA was working with Norfolk Southern to create the outcome that Norfolk Southern wanted.
Over 2 years after the decision to burn tankers of vinyl chloride here in East Palestine, Leslie Pacey with the Government Accountability Project says this March 7, 2023 email from the EPA to Norfolk Southern exposes that the EPA relied on Norfolk Southern testing, that they told Norfolk Southern not to test for 5 compounds, and that the EPA manipulated the soil sampling plan. Independent testing expert and whistleblower Scott Smith.
They allowed Norfolk Southern to clearly handpick testing data to say, you were already contaminated. We didn't add to that contamination. It's that simple, Rich.
Stephen Petty, one of the lead experts on the giant class action suit against Norfolk Southern, says the worst part, they did not test in the right area for the dioxins, suggesting the results not accurate. For example, Petty says they didn't take into account which way the wind was blowing the day of the open burn, something they should have known to do.
If they knew that the winds were actually either calm or to the other direction primarily, then they were inverting background and foreground, which would make you conclude no problem here. But maybe more insidiously, it would call into question the entire decision-making process to go forward with the burn in the first place.
That's a big deal.
I think so. I think it should have been stopped as soon as the winds were the wrong direction or calm, because you've evacuated people in the wrong direction.
Petty cannot reveal his test results or analysis and has a non-disclosure agreement, but says the bottom line, the EPA and Norfolk Southern did not test in the right area for dioxins and may have done that on purpose.
Do you think, in your expert opinion, that the EPA and Norfolk Southern were doing everything that they could to get to the truth of exposure levels for East Palestine?
No, I don't think so.
Now, Elizabeth, Petty says that the conversation is heading in one direction, is what did the EPA and the responsible parties know about the wind shift during the burn that day? And it will ultimately tell us if this was intentional or not. Back to you.
All right, Rich McHugh, Stella reporting yet again, live from East Palestine, Ohio.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.